All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Room Service 1938. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it better than A Night at the Opera, which I think was a MGM movie. I didn't like it as much as Duck Soup, but I thought it was pretty goofy and funny. For the most part, the ending was kind of a letdown. They had the swing low, sweet chariot going. Room Service is a 1938 RKO film. I don't know why they went from MGM back to RKO, but it's a comedy directed by William A. Saiter, based on the 1937 play of the same name by Alan Barretts and John Murray. The film stars the Marx brothers, Groucho, Harpo, and Chico, and also features Lucille Ball, Ann Miller, and Frank Albertson. This is the only film starring the Marx brothers with screenplay based on material that was not written especially for them, less frenetic and more physically contained than their other films. The plot revolves around the shenanigans of getting a stage play produced and funded by mysterious backer Zachary Fisk while evading paying a large hotel bill. RKO made the movie in 1944 as Step Lively, starring George Murphy and Frank Sinatra, using ample recycled footage from the original film. A remake with recycled footage, 1944. I have not seen Step Lively, by the way. But that doesn't mean that it's not on my Netflix queue. Step Lively. Let's see. It's on Netflix, but it's not in my queue. Solve that mystery. So I have no desire to watch Step Lively unless Adrian chimes in tomorrow. Gordon Miller, a flat broke theatrical producer whose staff includes Harry Bonelli and Faker England, is told by his brother-in-law, Joseph Gribble, manager of the White Way Hotel, that he and his cast of 22 actors who have run up a bill of $1,200 must leave the hotel immediately or face the wrath of supervising director Gregory Wagner. That's the guy who keeps saying, "Great butterballs!" Miller has hidden the cast and crew of his play, Hail and Farewell, in the empty hotel ballroom. Miller is planning on skipping out on the hotel without paying the bill when he receives word that one of his actresses, Christine Marlowe, has arranged for a backer. Okay. Christine Marlowe is played by a very young Lucille Ball. I didn't even recognize her. Miller must keep his room and the cast and crew hidden until he can meet with the backer and receive a check. At the same time, Wagner discovers Miller's debt, assured by Gribble that Miller had skipped without paying his bill. Wagner is surprised to find Miller still in his room, now joined by the play's author, Leo Davis, who had arrived in town and checked into Miller's room because he only had 67 cents on him. When Wagner threatens to evict Miller before the backer can arrive, Miller and Bonelli convince David to pretend to be sick. To obtain food, Miller promises waiter Sasha Smirnov a part in the play. Yeah. So Sasha Smirnov, the Russian dude he's a waiter who wants to be an actor. Okay, so they tell him, "You make a mistake and deliver food to the wrong room. We haven't eaten in 18 hours. When Davis leaves to meet with girlfriend Hilda Manny, who is very unattractive, by the way. I don't know why Davis has the hots for this gal. England takes over as a sick patient examined by a doctor brought in by Mr. Wagner. Wagner leaves to confront the crowd in the ballroom while the doctor examines the patient. To delay the doctor giving his report to Wagner, Benelli and Miller tie him up, gag him, lock him in the bathroom. Agent for Zachary Fist, the wealthy backer, arrives to sign over the check. The doctor breaks free in the bathroom, and the agent is hit on the head accidentally as England chases a flying turkey around with a baseball bat. That scene is hilarious. You know that turkey isn't real, but it still looks so ridiculous. It's funny. I like Marx Brothers humor. I don't know why. The agent Groucho Marx is the best. He's got a lot of good one-liners too. The agent just wants to escape the madness, but he reluctantly signs over the check and leaves. Davis returns and says he heard the agent say he will stop payment on the check, and he just signed it to get out of the room. Wagner is fooled into believing all is well, and he upgrades the boys to a fancier room, and he extends them more credit. Later, as the play is about to open, the check from Fisk bounces. Miller, Benelli, and England manipulate Wagner into believing he's driven the play's author to take poison. They pretend to give Davis large quantities of ipecac, which is actually drunk by England, and he eventually pretends to die. Then England disappears and reappears, pretending to have committed suicide. Wagner is bluffed into believing it's all his fault, and he helps take the body down the alley. As Miller and Wagner prop England on a crate, a passing policeman asks what's going on. Miller bluffs their way out of the situation so he and Wagner can make an escape, leaving England asleep. They go to watch the end of the play, which is a scene where the miners are bringing a body from out of the mine. The body on the stretcher is England. And so this one had a budget of $884,000, and the box office was $875,000. It was a financial flop. So Zeppel Marx, who had retired from the screen after Duck Soup and was now representing his brothers, brokered a deal with RKO to produce the version of the Broadway play Room Service by John Murray and Alan Boris. The play was adopted for the Marxists by Maury Ryskan. Room Service was the only film in which neither the story nor the characters were created by, especially for the Marx Brothers. This was only his second Marx Brothers film, the other being Duck Soup, in which Chico does not play the piano and Harpo does not play the harp. Ann Miller was only 15 years old when she made this film. She had lied about her age and obtained a fake birth certificate when she was about 14 years old, which stated that she was 18 just prior to signing with RKO Pictures. In a private screenings interview with Robert Osborne on Turner Classic Movies, Miller described her experience with the Marx Brothers. Miller described a situation in which Harpo Marx dropped his pants in front of her, beeped his horn, and chased her around the set. Miller described her being so scared to death of the man and thought he was crazy, but she loved Groucho Marx. So Harpo Marx dropped his pants in front of a 15-year-old girl. Ann Miller, who played Hilda Manning. She is not attractive at all. No wonder she's 15 years old. Frank Nugent noted the film has not changed much from the play, and the Marxists haven't made it any funnier, but less Neither has their presence interfered to a large extent with the disorderly progress of an antic piece. Yeah, I noticed the comedy is kind of like complete anarchy, like the thinking of subterfuges on the fly. While there may be some questions about the plays being a perfect Marx vehicle, there can be none about its being a thoroughly daffy show. Yeah, yeah, I tend to agree with that New York Times assessment. Variety wrote that it would do plenty of business and satisfy on the laugh score. Surefire comedy smash. The hilarious proceedings find the Marx Brothers right in their element, Film Daily wrote. Harrison's reports called it a good comedy and pleasant romance. John Mosher of the New Yorker wrote, as comedic pictures go, this ranks certainly above average. Has enough of the Marxian note of that. As Marx Brothers movies go, however, it is minor effort. I don't know about that. The film recorded a loss of $330,000. The basic plot of Room Service was used for the Monkees Manhattan-style episode of the Monkees Season 1, Episode 30, first broadcast April 10th, 1967, also known as Monkees in Manhattan. So there you go. Everything from Wikipedia I just read. Sorry about that. I didn't want to miss anything. Because if I try to give out all the names and the scenarios and the background out of my own head, then this is going to be a 2-minute video. Or if I try to do the plot off the top of my head, I'm going to forget scenes. That's just the way it is. Anyways, I think I'm going to take another nap. Then I'll leave here early to pick up my son, get some ashwagandha pills, finish up at the circus, and maybe I can get to the Great McGinty, depending on how many bonus features there are. There might be bonus features on this one too. It's a 1940 flick, and I only have disc 1. Of course, Netflix won't send me disc 2. You're hungry for some room service? Karate Man's in the chat room. It's kind of early for a Karate Man. Usually he's in the chat room a few hours later, but he's been in the chat room every single day for the last 4 days. Yeah, it's hard to get room service when you run up a bill of $1,200 like the Marx Brothers did in this one. Pretty decent comedy. Not great. I'm not going to say highly recommend it or check it out, but pretty decent. It exceeded my expectations. Let me put it to you that way. I think overall I'm going to give this disc 3 out of 5 stars, depending on how I rate at the circus. But I think it's time for a nap, and maybe I can get a couple more in, or 3 more in before the end of the day. Just resting up and watching Netflix today, my day off. Hopefully next week I'll be working 2 jobs. Cross my fingers. I hope the training starts next week. I gotta send them an email at some point. Asking them when my training starts, because they said it was going to take 1 to 2 weeks. It's been about 8 days, I think. So if I can't get an answer from them by Wednesday, I'm just going to send them an email. And maybe I'll pop by there or something. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, Karate Man's in the chat room, and he just says, I'm hungry for some room service. Well, nice to see Karate Man. But I think you're a little late. It's I'm going over 15 minutes, so I better head out. Maybe I'll see you again later today.